Hey guys, what day is it? Let me stop. Okay, welcome, greetings. This is the fourth quarter. This is my second fourth quarter video, and I am so excited yet once again. The last fourth quarter video that I made was last October 1st of 2015, and we are back here again. It is October yet once again. This year has gone by, flown by, to say the least, but we are in our fourth quarter of the year that you could check out my last video from, not my last video, but the last video that I had talking about the fourth quarter and how there's 4 quarters in a game, and so the first quarter goes by, the second quarter goes by, and the third quarter, and now we're in the fourth quarter. And so when we think about months, we think of January, February, March, that's the first quarter. April, May, June, that's the second quarter. July, August, September, that's the third quarter. October, November, December is the fourth quarter. And the thing is that usually in the fourth quarter, that's whenever people they get their best players to play. They preserve them all throughout the game. They have them sitting out, and they put the best players in the fourth quarter to play. And so right now I am coming to tell you guys that we are the best players right now. We have been, I don't know if you've been sitting out the whole year, but this is the time that we have to get up and really get into the game, because this is when the winner is going to be announced and the winner is going to take the trophy home. And so these last 3 months, we got to get about our business. We got to be about our Father's business, like Jesus told his family. And so the thing is that I just come to you guys today to just kind of share what's been going on since the last fourth quarter video. And I pray that you guys will do the same. Send me emails, write comments or whatever to show and to tell me that I pray that there's been some type of growth between last year and this year. You know, I cannot limit God to what he could do or what I think that he could do. So I'm believing that God has done so much great things in your lives, especially if you've been seeking him wholeheartedly. So basically, so let's just dive in. So I'm going to be talking on a different variety of things. I hope y'all got time to sit down and listen. So basically, from last October to this October, 12 months, a whole year, there has been a lot of changes physically, mentally, and spiritually in me that I can only give God the glory to. First and foremost, you guys know a little bit of my story, how God told me to move to Texas, which I'm in now, in San Antonio. He told me last year, I was in California, and God had spoke to me. I remember like it was yesterday. He said, I need you to move to San Antonio. I didn't know why, but I knew that he told me to do it. So I wasn't going to question him. I wasn't going to, you know, try to reason with it. Well, God, what am I going to do? And he said, just leave it up to me. Just trust me. Like, are you really going to have faith to get up and get out of here and trust me? Because I'm telling you this, and I knew that it was him, because it was just like he was kind of setting me up to get to that point. I was working as a counselor at a facility, and he shut that down. He told me to leave the job, and the thing is, people didn't understand why I went to the job, and I said, hey, I have to leave, I have to go, here's my 2 weeks notice, etc. They didn't understand why I didn't. God was just like, you don't have to explain yourself, just you know, get out of there. And so I thank God for that period of time, because if I did not obey him, I would not have even, I don't think that I would have heard him when he told me to leave, because at the time that job was so stressful. It was so much stuff going on, and I said, you know what, this has to be you. And so, you know, the thing is that we have to make sure that it's God and not us whenever we hear him, whenever we hear things come to our mind, because sometimes it could be us, the devil, or him. And so to know that we have to be in our word to be able to hear from him. And so that being said, I picked up everything, and how I knew it was God, because it was, and not saying that every transition will be smooth, but I knew that it was him, because I mean, everything was just working out just like that for me to get to Texas. The moving, the shipping the cars, all that was just working out. So I said, thank you, God, because I'm, and it worked out. So I got here, got to Texas, and at that time, I had just gotten out of a relationship. I had been engaged, and that didn't work out. God closed that door. And to say the least, he shut the door. I didn't want to shut it, but the thing is he shut it. And so when God shuts the door, you don't go prying that door open. And so I said, you know what, God, I'm not going to pry this door open. I'm going to trust you. And the thing is, I think 3 or 4 months later, I was moved out to Texas. And so that being said, I moved out to Texas. I got to the church. My uncle is an assistant pastor at a church, and he said, hey, I think you would like it out here at this church. And so to say the least, my church, I call it Church of Deliverance. I was at that altar every Sunday for a little while, and people were looking at me like, oh, we know she's gonna be at the altar this Sunday. But hey, I didn't care. The spectators, they were who needed to be there along with me, because and I knew that I had some things that I needed to lay at that altar. I'd been hurt, been broken, and been emotionally unstable. And so I said, God, I need to give you my cares. I need to cast my cares onto you, because that's what your word says, and you will give me rest. And the thing is that when I did that, I found so much peace. And so I said, God, I'm going to stay at this altar as long as the doors are open, and as long as I feel like there's something in my heart that doesn't belong and I need to be there. And so the thing is that I was at that altar. Like I said, I was there every single week. People knew they had a spot reserved for me, because they knew that I would be there crying my heart out. And I said, God, I thank you. And it just felt so good to just have it released there at the altar. So mind you, that took a few months of just God scraping away and basically taking my heart and just and rebuilding it and repairing it back up, giving me a new heart. And the thing is that, I found myself being in situations where the old me, and I knew that I was spiritually growing, because the old me would have cussed somebody out. The old me would have handled this situation differently. And the old me would have done this, and the old me would have done that. But I realized what the scripture says about being a new creature and a new man, like you put your old ways aside. And so I knew that God was doing a work in me. And so there was a lot of growth spiritually and mentally that I have obtained over the course of this year. And not even only that, my desires changed. Last year, the year before, like I've grown up in a family. My parents, they worked so hard. I cannot say that I've ever needed or wanted anything. Like, they've given me everything I needed. People will call me a spoiled brat, but I thank God for my parents and letting them have the ability to be able to give us everything that we desire. But the thing is once I started to change, and God started to come into my heart and change my heart, the desires that I had of wanting these and wanting that and wanting all these different material things and brand name things and cars and all that stuff, I knew I was spiritually growing, because I didn't have the desire for them no more. I said, God, you brought me in this world with nothing. I'm going to go out with nothing. That's what your word says. And the thing is, I didn't have I wasn't longing to have these desires. Granted, if God blessed me with them, I wouldn't be mad at him, but I wasn't over here, God, please give me this Range Rover. God, please let me get that Michael Kors or that Tory Burch or that Kate Spade or that, And so the thing is that my desires has changed to the point now I'm just like, God, whatever you want me to have, I'll take, but I'm not longing and I'm not making these things idol. I know that there's some people that's all they care about. They only care about name brand stuff. They only care about getting the latest this or that. They got to get a new car every week, every year. And I'm just like, I'm going to drive that little thing out there till the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying? and I'm all right with it, because when God, I ain't coming here to preach today. I'm just coming here to tell you about what happened between now and last year. So not only that, being spiritually grown and growing mentally and all that, there's been a lot of healing. So as I told you before, last year I was so jacked up mentally, spiritually, emotionally hurt, still messed up from that breakup. Because the thing is with me, and this is, I'm getting a little bit of my testimony, a little bit of my story. I would jump out of a relationship and get right into another one. And so more than likely the relationship that I jumped out of was probably a little terrible, but what I would do, I just brush it under the rug and jump into something else, not knowing that I'm still holding on to all the stuff that happened in that previous relationship that I really didn't get rid of, but I jumped into the next one just because it felt good and just because I love to have somebody there. And I'm charging that person for what happened in that last relationship, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. The baggage is just getting heavier and heavier, and then there comes a point where I had a breaking point. And it's like, you shouldn't have to get to that point. You should be dealing with these things over time. You should give yourself time to heal, but that's another sermon. The thing is that's why I was at the altar every Sunday, every Wednesday, every morning worship service. I'm there because God, I said, I need you to clean my heart up. I need you to get rid of all this mess because I want to be right for the people. I want to be able to serve the people effectively, and not having in my flesh and not having in my baggage, because there's a lot of people in ministry that are serving that had not really allowed God to do that to them and really clear their hearts out. And so to say the least, God has been healing me, and I've gone through a season of just healing, just God saying, you know what, give me that. I know that happened 10 years ago, but give me that. It's time to heal from that very thing, because that very thing is what's causing you to have all these relationship issues, these trust issues, and so the thing is, when I really gave those things to God, I just felt so free. I felt so free. And I remember one of the ministers, she kept coming up to me saying, Jasmine, freedom, freedom, freedom. God keeps saying, you're free, you're free. And so the thing is, it didn't make sense then. I'm like, what do you mean I'm free? I don't get it. I don't feel free. And sometimes when you get a word from God, it may not come right then. And so now after about a year later, I see what she kept saying, what God was telling her, freedom. Because like right now, you don't understand, with the letting go of all the hurt, the pain, the misery, I've turned it into ministry. And so the thing is that I feel totally free. Freedom. And so God, like I told you, God had to break my heart literally and rebuild it. There were nights that I've cried from that year to this year, from last year to this year. There's nights that I couldn't even sleep because I'm just crying my heart to sleep. I'm like, God, you done told me to move out here. What do I do now? God, I'm away from my family. I miss them. I want to go back to where it's comfortable. And God was like, no, I need you to stay where you're at, because you're building. I couldn't build you. I couldn't grow you there because it was comfortable. I needed you to get out of there. And I think about Abraham, how he took him from his family. He had to leave a land to receive a land. And I compare that to my life, because I'm like, I literally had to leave where I was comfortable, where I loved, and so I've gained so much freedom and so much wholeness just being by myself. And sometimes we don't want to get by ourselves with God. And we have to think about, that's what Jesus did. He would leave the disciples and go up to the mountain and go up the mountain and really just pray and spend time with God. And he did that, but he went by himself. Sometimes God is going to take you by yourself to do and to get in the way when he has a calling on your life. When he has a purpose and a plan like he has for every one of you, he may have to take you through a season of isolation where you can't have nobody in your circle, where you got to be right by yourself, crying in the room or crying in the closet, praying out to him. And the thing is that we cannot get so, I'm feeling so lonely and I don't want to do this. This hurts. How many times are we going to go around the bus? How many times we're going to go around the mountain? How many times we're going to go around and insanity when it gets hard, and when God's really bringing you through something and it doesn't feel good? The pruning process, as Pastor Cornelius Lindsay says, it ain't going to feel good, but it's necessary. I think back to Jonah, when God specifically told him what to do, but he didn't want to do it because it didn't feel right. It didn't feel comfortable to him. But after he came to his senses and got thrown off the ship and all that, and went through all of that and caused all the commotion and all the chaos for all these other people because of his disobedience, the instructions never changed. and he still has to do what God called him to do. So the thing is that we can go around that mountain all day long in insanity, but we're still going to have to do what God has called us to do. The instructions ain't going to change, honey. And so the thing is, I'm like, God, you know what? I've been at this point. I'm not going to run back to my past, what's comfortable, because I'm tired of doing that. Either way, you're going to make me go through this thing. You made Jonah have to go through it, so let me just go through it now. And so, anyways, to say the least, is that I finally got to the point. I said, God, you know, have your way. Because we, you know, and us Christian folk, us religious folk, we always say, God, have your will, let your will be done. Have your way, just use me. And then when he gets to the point to try to use you, you say, no, I ain't trying to hurt. I ain't trying to go through nothing. I want to feel good. And that's not the case. Because anytime where God's going to use you the most, he's going to try you. He's going to test you to build endurance, to see what you're really made of and what he's called you to do. So there was a reconstructing and a renovation process that had to be done in my life. He had to tear that thing down, tear all of that stuff down. And it's not even being arrogant or puffed up, but I thank God, and I like the way that I'm looking. I like the way that, you know, he's healing, and he's brought me from this and from that, and I'm just like, thank you, Jesus. And so basically between last year and now, I've had to literally just let go of my life. And by doing that, God has really been able to do what he wanted to do. And he's constantly doing that. And so now I can say that I'm walking into my purpose, because when I moved out here, I was like, oh, I'm about to get in the ministry. I came to the church. I was like, hey, I got this ministry I want to do. I want to do this. I want to do that one. And God was like, girl, you need to get yourself right first, because before you could serve anybody, you need to be able to be whole yourself, and you ain't whole. Matter of fact, you ain't even a piece of being whole. And so he humbled me down, because I came up there like, shoot, I'm about to come up here and have this and start that. No, and there was a process that I had to go through, and people don't want to go through the process, because I'm telling you, I didn't want to go through the process. I was like, God, you know what? I know I'm called. I know I'm equipped. I know I can do this and do that. And no, you couldn't do nothing, girl. You couldn't do nothing but be at that altar every Sunday like I told you to be, because you had some stuff that you needed to let go and get on with. And so, I mean, I'm telling you, I will tell you, it was a season, it was a time of not trying to rush to get into ministry. I really had to let God do what he wanted to do, and most importantly, what he needed to do, what I needed for him to do, because you can't truly serve somebody until you have been cleaned up. Yeah, and I know you ain't gonna be perfect. You ain't gonna have arrived and be all this and that and a bag of potato chips, but you got to be in a point where you're okay to serve somebody. You're okay to be able to forgive somebody, because I'm telling you, when I got there, I was all jacked up. You know, somebody look at me crazy, I'm over here ready to fight, or you know, and no. So I needed to be at that altar to be delivered. So the thing is that when you're called, you know, I know a lot of people are like, well, I need to hurry up and get it, and I need to start doing my ministry. I need to start doing that. When you're called, your calling's not going to go anywhere. God has already placed the calling in your life. He's already given you the talents. You just got to let him do what he wants to do and trust his timing. And because I'm telling you, if I would have jumped in, if I wasn't under a group of people that could really hear from God and know what I needed, I would have messed that stuff up. You know, it would have been crazy. And so, yes. And so the thing is, God's going to finish what he started. So that it's all about trust and having unmeasured faith. And so there's been a lot of tests between last year and this year. I've had tests of humiliation, being embarrassed, you know. And the thing is that, you know, God will place us in situations to humble us down. You know, I moved out here. I moved with my aunt and uncle, and you know, I'm 25 years old, staying with my aunt and uncle, and I'm just like, no, you know, and it had to humble me, and so God will place us in certain situations that will cause us to we ain't got no other choice but to be humble. We ain't got no other choice but to take away the arrogance or what have you. Because the thing is, I'm living with my aunt and uncle, and I'm looking at people my age, they already got this and that, and to God be the glory. Right now, I'm living in my own place now, you know, thank God. But I had to be in that place to be able to appreciate this place. And so the thing is that God will allow that. I had tests of obedience. Would I obey God if he placed me in this situation? Will I obey God if this situation came onto me? And so there was a lot of tests, I'm telling you. But a test is nothing but a trial to see, to be able to pass the test. I think about going to school. Like when I remember I was in middle school and high school, you had to pass certain exams to go to the next level. And so it's the same way spiritually. God will allow tests for us to go through, for us to be able to go to the next level. Okay, you passed that test. You didn't go to John Bow's house and spend the night and lose your religion that one night. Okay, pass that test. Okay, you didn't go off on Sister Sally when she said this or that, or when she looked at you up and down and called you ugly. Pass that test. You didn't fail the test. When you get the drift. So when you're called, God is going to continue to do what he wants to do. And that goes along with whatever you pray for, you better prepare for it. So if you pray, God, please give me patience. Oh, God, let me trust you. Oh, God, I trust you in every area. So God is going to put you in situations to see if you can pass them tests. You say you trust me in every area, but your rent due today and you ain't got no money in your bank account. So how much do you trust me? Oh, God, I need patience. Oh, God, I give me patience. But you got all these kids running around and you're ready to get you sitting in traffic. I'm telling you. Just the other day, I was telling my friend, like, God's really working on me. I ain't perfect. I was sitting in traffic the other day, and traffic was about it took me almost 2 hours to get home. And I said, God, I was so mad. I was turning the knob up and I was like, God, I need to be delivered from this. You teach me patience. And it was an accident. So I said, God, somebody lost their life today, more than likely because who knows? But please give me patience. And I just started saying Jesus, 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 because I thought of the scripture say his name and he'll flee. Submit to God and say his name and he will flee. Devil has to flee. And so I kept saying Jesus. And so the thing is that you have to trust God in every area. And I did a study, devotional, whatever, on if God said it, do it. And so I know this year there's been a lot of people that God has told you to do something and you are not doing it because of what looks like you don't have in the natural. And so the thing is, if God's told you to do something, don't you think he's going to provide you to do it? And there's one thing if man told you to do it, but if God's told you to do it, he's going to provide what you need. He just want to know you're going to trust him to believe it. And so I have a study on where it says if God said to do it, you guys should check that out. But this year has been just a year of just total trust. I'm excited about what he's getting ready to do between now and December 31st. He's so merciful. He's so gracious. And I'm just excited. I was excited last year. And next year when October come back to the fourth quarter, I'm going to be even more excited. I know my aunt would always joke with me. She said, is he so excited, because I kept saying that last video. Y'all don't understand, that last video last year, I was so nervous. I didn't know what I was saying. I was just like, you know what? But I knew God had called me to do these vlogs and videos, but I just kept saying the same stuff over and over. That was stupid, but hey, y'all got the drift. You see me now. It's all good. But yeah, so... And so when I think about all of this stuff that God is calling us to do, a lot of stuff, it may not make sense to people. It may not, it may just seem totally crazy. But God is like, who are you going to trust, man or me? And the thing is that God will provide. I know there's a lot of people that God is telling them to do certain things, but even for me, I know God has called me into ministry. It may not make sense to other people, the decisions and the choices that I make. But the thing is, I ain't here to please y'all. And the thing is, I've had to be delivered from people bondage, because until you really could serve people, you got to be delivered from people. And so the thing is that God is like, girl, you can't worry about what so and so gonna think if you decide to do this, or what so and so think if you don't decide to do that. Because at the end of the day, when I get to heaven, I want to get to heaven and God say, well done, good and faithful servant, my good and faithful servant. And I don't want him to say, hey, because of your disobedience, XYZ happened. Because of your disobedience, this could have happened. And look what you could have had if you did this. But you was listening to blah, 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 or so-and-so. And so I would just say, guys, this has been an awesome year. I'm excited about what God is getting ready to do between now and the end of the year. I just wanted to come and encourage you guys, just to let you guys know that this is a process. And I don't know if you guys have just started this walk, but know that God is going to provide. He's provided for me each and every time. And he is just so amazing. I'm so thankful, and to God be all the glory just goes to him. And the thing is that what God has placed on my spirit to share with you guys, there's certain things that you may have to let go right now. If you really want to hear from God, if you haven't heard from him, if you're wondering what your purpose is, if you're wondering what your calling is, fast, do a fast. I mean, I think that sometimes we have to do fast at least once a week. I'm telling you, because it's vital to hear from God. And the thing is that so many times we're not listening, we're not hearing, and we're so distracted with social media, with TV, with the elections, with all this stuff that's going on, trying to get our attention, that we don't even spend time with God. And so the thing is, we have to be intentional about spending time with him, because we want him. In James, it tells us, if you spend time with me, seek me, draw close to me, I'll draw close to you. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And so the thing is that if we want to hear from God, we need to spend time with him. You know, we need to make sure that we're hearing him and we're not hearing ourselves or the enemy. Because the enemy's whispering lies too. The enemy's coming to us in our dreams too. You know, so we have to listen and spend time with him. And so by fasting, and I'm telling you, when you fast, you need to give up something that is going to be hard for you to live without. So for me, social media. I've had to give that thing up, and I'm telling you, I fasted a week from it. And I said, and every time I turn around, I was getting ready to sign in on Facebook, on Instagram, on what have you. But God was like, you know, and I said, you know what, God, I might need to fast from this thing another week, because this is a struggle. This is a struggle for me, and I can admit it. Yes, I have struggles, and the thing is, oftentimes we think of Christian folk that don't have no struggles, and that's because they're painting the picture like they don't. You need to be more transparent so you can relate to people, because I believe Christians are the people that have the most problems, because we're trying to live right, but the enemy's trying to make us do wrong. And so, yes, I struggle. I have issues. And so the thing is that we have to definitely take notice to that, and also write, you know what I'm saying? Like journal, write. Like that could be a fast. They don't always have to be about food, you know what I'm saying? Get rid of social media, get rid of the TV, cut the TV off for a week, and just spend time with God. You know, write in your journal, speak to God every single night. You know, before you go to sleep, that's what I do. I write to him every night. I've been doing that for years. I fell off at one point, but then I got back on it. Spend time with him intentionally, you know, 15 minutes a day. 20 minutes a day. And you know, the thing is, we ain't got to read the whole Bible. Read a verse, pray, ask him, and say, God, where would you have me to go? And as you speak to me, as you lead me to where you want me to read, speak to my heart. What do you want to say through these scriptures? But yes, also, this is another thing. Before I go, this has been an awesome year. Everything has been great. But I will say, just to encourage you guys, there needs to be a balance. There has to be some certain type of balance on what we're doing. I know that there's mighty men and women of God that are literally just spending a lot of time just listening to worship music, just singing and dancing. Oh, I listen to I listen to Kirk Franklin all day long. I listen to Tasha Cobbs all day long. So I'm good. God speaks to me through his music, which it might be true. But the thing is, I think about David in Psalms. He just sang and danced. But there were some times that he needed to hear from God. And so I believe you need to be able to have a balance. You don't need to just be listening to Kirk Franklin all day long, or Tasha Cobbs all day long. You need to have some type of balance where you getting into that word. Mind you, I love those people. I love those artists. But the thing is, they're into their word as well. That's how they're getting the word from God. And so we have to have a balance. Yes, listen to your worship music. We need to worship. We need to listen to God. But most importantly, you need to be in that word. Be in his word, because that's the way he's really speaking to us. And then we're being able to have scripture to be able to fight the enemy off. The full armor of God. The sword. That's the word. We need it. But yes, guys, I just wanted to come and follow up with you guys. I know this was almost a 30-minute video, but I absolutely love you guys. Comment, connect with me. I have some great things coming up. I have my own styling company, Virtuous by Jasmine. That's up and coming. So if you want to be styled, send me an email, jasmineking7@yahoo.com. I have my GoFundMe page up if you want to donate to start up this business, and I have all the stuff that I want to do. You guys can go read it. It's on GoFundMe.com. I am excited about what God is going to get ready to do. I pray that he blesses you. I pray that he keeps you in Jesus' name. I love you guys. I thank you guys for supporting me this far and listening to my videos and just listening to what God has to say. Have an awesome day. Love you.